Welcome to Rainbows and Razor Blades Productions, where chaos reigns in all of our content. I'm Kristen, and welcome to our show tonight, and we will shoot it over to Kat to introduce the rest.
All right, I'm Kat, also known as Autumnox on Twitter. Tonight we have three guests from the Reckless Attack podcast. We have David, Nathan, and Steve. And I had to look this up because I am not as familiar as Kristen is, so I see that Nathan is the DM. And
that is true.
We have two other characters.
Confirmed.
Yes.
Whose names I cannot pronounce, so you'll
game.
have to tell us who you are and the show, because I'm horrific at pronouncing names, and yeah, I'll get stuck on those. But tonight we're going to be talking about your podcast and just podcasting in general, as opposed to like stuff like we do with the video and whatnot. And just we have some questions about you as players and as gamers in general. So we'll go on from there. You guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then we'll start with the questions.
I don't know. It's always confusing when Nathan doesn't kick it off to somebody to
Right.
introduce.
Well,
yeah.
Then we will
This
start.
is we are Steve. We're guests on other people's streams,
Yes,
so
yes.
we can't bring our assumptions.
I'm
into
going
their-
to I'm going to channel Sophie here and take the initiative.
There you
Yeah.
go.
My name is Steve. On Reckless Attack, I play Selv Asterlin, the Dragonborn monk.
Cool.
Hi, everyone. I'm David, and also a cast member of Reckless Attack, and I play Casgrin Brightmane, the Dwarven Warlock.
Awesome.
And I'm Nathan. I'm the other one.
The other.
I do the majority of all other humanoid and non-humanoid characters on Reckless Attack, a Dungeons and Dragons, a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons actual play podcast. I'm the DM.
There we
Hello.
go.
You run the show, which is Kristen is our primary DM on the channel. So I've only DM'd one game in my whole life. That was like 3 weeks ago. Oh my god, it was only 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
We've premiered 3 long-term games since then, plus some other.
Time is meaningless anyway.
Yeah, time is.
True.
I tell
Time
people.
is a weird soup.
I tell people time's not linear. I don't know what day it is. I can tell you, but I'm not sure how I got there. So.
Yeah, it's just I don't think EMTs use the like what day is it question anymore to see if you're concussed. Just people assume like you probably don't know.
No, usually when we bring
What
people
year
into
is
the
this?
when people come to us in the ER, we do ask them what day it is. We don't particularly care. We ask them other questions like who they are. Who are you? What is your name?
It's important.
You know, what is your quest? Oh no, we don't ask that question. So
It would be entertaining if you did that.
there have been some I was tempted when they were coming out of sedation. They're like, hey, what is your quest? But, professionalism.
Did the wizard send you?
Yeah.
There's one in particular that would have been great to ask, but alas, I did not.
So to kick us off, how long have all of you been playing TTRPGs?
Ooh, okay. Quick podcast huddle. Do we build to the impressive number, or do we start that off and like establish credentials and then kind of like peter off as like, oh yeah, and also us?
Yeah.
I think the dramatic build is the way to go.
Okay, David, you start then.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm gonna lead off right with the number, so I'm gonna take the opposite approach. But so we've been playing for a long time. I want to say 7 years now.
Yeah,
almost,
I think just us as a group. I
Yeah.
think we've done the math many times, and then we all remember it
Yes.
for about 3 hours,
Yeah.
and then we're like, how long? I don't know.
And then we have
One
to do the
campaign.
math again. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the official group really, started from a Facebook post. Nathan was sort of starting his, not first game, but like a new campaign, and he wanted to find players, so we reached out on Facebook, and my girlfriend at the time, now wife, answered back and said, "Hey, I think David would be really interested in that." And then I sort of just like know you, and then brought her into the game as well, and also my brother.
And then also your brother.
Yes, so just a big old happy family. And then Steve, yeah, did you also come in from the Facebook group or?
Yes. So I joined because of that Facebook post, and then because Nathan reached out for that. And then when we all got together the first time, it was a whole bunch of finger pointing, like, "Hey, I know you. Yeah, wait, I know you too." Yeah,
Yeah, the
because
first
we
time-
had
That
all,
Spider-Man meme.
Oh,
yes, yeah,
absolutely.
It
Yeah.
was, though.
That was exactly what it was, because we had all gone to the same local game shop and played there, and so we all knew each other from that, but we had no idea we were all going to be in Nathan's game.
Mhm.
It was a surprise. Love it.
And so that kicked off a long, beautiful relationship, a D&D relationship.
That begrudgingly continues today.
Yeah.
Nice.
So is that what got you all into it, or did you all play before that?
No, yeah, we all played before, and yeah, the big impressive number that we are building towards is how long Steve has played. I started listening to podcasts in college. That was how I got into the hobby, was actual play podcasts, and then didn't get to play until late college, or like just after college, basically. It's a long story, but so I think I've been playing for like 10-ish years off and on. Much more seriously in the like back half of that 10 years, but yeah, off and on for I guess that long. Sheesh.
Yeah, I've been kind of around the same time. I started at the game store playing Pathfinder Society, which is like the D&D Adventure League, playing and then running games and then sort of transitioning to home games over the years. But yeah, I've probably had 1 to 2 like weekly games since then for 10 years. So
Wow.
it's
That's
been
cool.
That's impressive.
it's been crazy, but not as crazy as.
Oh, I guess that brings us to me. So the first time I played Dungeons and Dragons, it was actually a neighbor of mine that had the first edition AD&D books. So counting from there, conservatively, 35 years,
Nice.
Yeah.
give or take.
And- And how many of that is one campaign, Steve? That's the real exciting answer.
So I have actually been playing with some friends of mine from college in the same campaign with the same characters since 1999.
Oh wow.
So 23 years now.
That's cool.
And we've actually been all playing together since about 96. So I do have a character that is slightly older than the one that I'm currently playing, but this same campaign is about 23 years old now.
That's cool. That actually
Yeah.
was really cool. I think we had trouble sustaining one for like a year in our home games, but I've been playing off and on since the mid '90s too. So, but not as sustained as that. Like it was very intermittent up until this actually.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, because in college we were able to play, weekly, and then once all of us kind of separated and moved and got jobs and had other requirements, families and all of that, we still try to get together. Now it's more like maybe 4 to 5 times a year.
Mhm.
And then since COVID, we've actually just been playing online, which is it's fine, but it's not my preferred method,
It's not the
I
same.
guess. Yeah.
In
Not
person
ideal.
just hits different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really does. Yeah, mine was more of social. Like the circle the people I was hanging out with, they played, and then my social circle changed, and then went back, and then changed, and went back. It was kind of a windy path more than that. So, but that is really cool. That is still cool that you've had a game that's gone that long, and you guys still get together and play. That's
Yeah. We try to. Well, until
COVID.
the last couple of years. But,
Yeah, I mean-
there was an incident.
You know what? It's just a blur. We're trying not to talk about that too much and move on. I was very caught in that blur, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very intermittent over the very first TTRPG I played was Mage in high school, and it
Oh,
was
wow.
one
Okay.
one thing, and then my parents, who are uber conservative, were like, "This is the devil,"
Yep.
and so then
Actually, my first game that I played was a homebrew D&D. Actually, this one guy wrote his own world and everything, so it was cool. But and moving on and building on that, though, what you're talking about, you guys came all together. So when you came all together from that Facebook post, was it to start the podcast, or was it you're just
Dude.
playing? So what
We-
made you transition to that?
Yeah, we weren't even sure if we were going to do a campaign at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, at least as far as Nathan was concerned. Like, it was very like, I mean, like, not all D&D groups mesh, right? Like, I had played a little bit with Steve randomly in a game store, and knew David and Sophie, his now wife, and I maybe met Jonathan.
Kinda, yeah.
Maybe met his brother, and they were all lovely people. But that doesn't mean that that does not a D&D group make necessarily. So for me, I at least speaking for myself, was very like, let's try. I got an adventure here. We'll play it together. See if we all mesh before committing any amount of extra time, let alone the next 7+ years of our lives together. And then but then we just kept going. It was awesome. And then we kept gelling and meshing and had this crazy epic campaign that we made together.
Yeah, it was very much like we would just do one shot and then another one shot, and then I was like, do you guys just want to keep going? And then like every Monday since then, we've just gotten together and been playing D&D. But I would say like the transition point really happened after the first campaign. So this was probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't even. It was even before the first campaign, because we stopped our first campaign
Yeah.
to make the podcast until the event that shall not be named happened.
Yeah, and so that got put on hold for a while because, like Steve said, online is fine, but sometimes not often ideal, and we really wanted to make sure that our group worked really well together in person, and we wanted to keep that going into the podcast. So we waited. It was like 2020. We were just about to start recording. The event hits, and then we're like, I guess we just hang out until it's over. And we,
And some say we are still hanging to this day.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
So
the
you
podcast
guys,
is out, so
Yeah.
so you guys actually physically all get together to record this then, or?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
as long as it's safe to,
Right.
we've definitely canceled a few sessions here and there for travel, for safety, for COVID scares and that kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, we all live really, really close to each other, so
Oh, wow.
it's very easy to just.
Yeah, I'm kind of the outlier on that one, but still relatively close, but not as close, not walking distance.
Yeah.
That's
I'm-
still really cool.
Yeah, literally walking distance from Nathan and my brother.
Yeah.
And Sophie lives here, so like there you go.
Yeah, we've got people from all over the world. And we've got in our Cyberpunk campaign, one of our players is from New Zealand, and and then we've got another guy that he recurs on the channel from time to time. He's up in Quebec and then just all over the place. So that's a little harder for us, but
I played a mini campaign that was being run by somebody in Rome, and we had a player from India. It's been crazy.
Yes.
I got to play with Johnny and some of them from the UK, and I played with people in Finland.
so
Yeah, I will say that's that's one of those things that I guess the good side of not being able to get together in person is you get to you jump online and you have access to anybody you want to play with.
well, she jumps online and meets people. I don't talk to strangers very well. I need that primer, that introduction. Otherwise, I'm like stranger danger. So
Right.
I don't know where that kind of kicked in, because like in the 90s when I get on the bulletin boards, I'm like, hi, talk to me. And maybe that was just my the balls of a teenager. I'm not entirely sure, but I nowadays I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to people unless somebody introduces me so I know they're okay.
Yeah.
So I go and meet all the people, and then I'm like, "Here, Kat, talk."
Yeah, I
that's-
mean, the internet is different also.
It has changed
And responsible
a lot.
using the internet is
Oh yeah, no,
more important than
especially
ever.
with all of the things that come out about various creators, and then you're like, all right, I didn't know how they were, so I'm stepping back from
Sure.
this. I did not know about this. Please don't.
And then there's me who
Looking
lives
back.
under a rock, and I don't know who a lot of these folks are. So I get
Yep.
introduced to this stuff as the drama explodes, and I was like, "Oh, cool story, bro!" And I just sit here and watch it all go down. I'm like, "Okay, it's
that's
Yeah.
our approach generally. Is I very frequently just be like, hey, I know you guys probably don't know who this person is, but just so you know, in case you see them, XYZ details. And everyone's like, nope, don't know them, but
Right.
thanks.
Yep.
yeah." I just
Cool.
don't.
But
I just don't touch it. I'm like, we from the outset wanted our channel to be a community channel and a safe place for people to go. So we don't touch any of the drama, like not with a 10-foot pole. Like if we see a brew, we're just like, no, thank you. You know. So, but
I wish I
didn't-
could. I wish I could remember which comedian had said it, but growing up again, I grew up in the '80s, and it was, and then the '90s with the internet and everything. It was, you don't talk to strangers on the internet because you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Don't get into strangers' cars, and
Mhm.
things like that. And now,
remember
literally,
that.
we go on the internet and basically order a stranger with a car to show up and take us places.
Yep.
Yep.
It's a very different
It is.
different experience.
Oh yeah, no, I remember all that stuff because I grew up in like the 80s and 90s as well, and I was like, everything is stranger danger. Like literally, we had these little stickers that said,
Right.
don't go
Yep.
with stranger danger. I think it was McGruff the dog or whatever, and the crime dog,
Yes.
and
Taking a bite out of crime.
yes.
To be fair, Dare convinced me that people would be offering me drugs a whole lot more
I-
often than they
yes,
do.
correct.
It depends on where you live. Like where I live, I got offered pot an awful lot. Nothing harder than that, but a lot of pot. It was terrible pot though. I don't recommend it from where I grew up. Well, it might be better now, actually. Anyway,
Just dare asterisk. You will be offered drugs, but they will be bad.
yeah, that is the caveat when you're,
That's why we're saying say no to drugs. You
Yeah.
might think drugs are worse than they are.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's not an official reckless attack position,
Yeah.
just to be clear.
No, officially, as a adult and healthcare worker, I do not take that position. But yeah, you're going to get offered crap anyway, so don't do it. So when you started this podcast, there's always challenges when you're starting things. Like I had to learn a couple pieces of software I didn't previously know, that kind of thing. What kind of challenges did you guys face, and that you wish you had known going into it was going to be problematic for you, or give you set up roadblocks for you?
David, do you want to start talking about the intricacies of sound design?
Yeah, I think
And
David's
editing?
our best person
Oh,
to
man.
I
answer
think
that
that's
one.
I think that's a good place to. There are many others that we will talk about, but
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Oh, give
Like-
me the nerdy tech shit, because I before I started healthcare, I worked in like graphic design and computer building and stuff like that, and so I love that stuff too. So that's why
And
I
I'll
got this
just smile
question.
and nod.
Yeah.
I want to say our biggest challenge early on was how the hell do we mic up 5 people in a small room? Because at the time we were recording in like Nathan's little side room, and so it's this tiny 5x6 room. We can barely all fit in, and so anything we say is gonna echo off the walls, and it's gonna be terrible. And so we start the initial recording was Nathan put down his iPhone because we wanted to see what it would sound like, and then also just have a record of what we were doing. And it was fun, but obviously not good audio.
Right.
And then we moved to these lavalier, like the lapel mics, and tried those for like a hot second before realizing that was also terrible.
Yeah, I don't think it even made it a full session,
Yeah,
if I remember right. I think that
did
got
like 30 minutes,
ejected
like-
quickly.
Yeah. And then, I end up my brother and I and everyone starts doing this research of okay, if we're going to actually do a podcast, how do we do this? And so we end up with this, we have the giant audio interface now. We have the microphones, the mic stands, all the pop filters. But
The soundboards,
Yeah.
what are they called? The foam pieces on the walls.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
I
the
don't know.
installation.
I could like
Yes,
swivel
thank you.
my camera around, but like so this room is treated with these sound panels that I built.
Oh,
that,
cool.
I spent like a month going to all these different Goodwills and like, oh, you have bedding, you have towels, like,
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
great.
yeah, stuffing them into this place. But yeah, like the first iteration of the setup was these microphones that were all basically glued to a little wooden stand that we would set in the middle of Nathan's table because we didn't have any space around the table for like the with the boom mics that you see now.
Right.
So we just had like I went to a friend's house and I'm like, give me your tools, give me your wood, in like half an hour, and I just like drilled together this little like
It's a table.
yeah, this
basically.
table basically, and then like zip tied and glued this 8-input audio interface and everything to it, and so it ends up looking like this spider coming out from the middle of the room with all the microphones pointed towards everyone's face.
Do you have a picture of this? Because this sounds like
Yes.
epic.
We do
Yeah,
That's
we
actually.
amazing.
posted it.
there are. Yeah.
I have it. I posted it on Twitter, but like many months ago,
Yeah.
which is the equivalent of sorry, you need an archaeologist to find it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely do. I think if you looked up reckless attack spider,
It might
well,
show
you
up.
have to sift through some
Oh,
fan-
okay, yeah.
some
This-
info on a baby donkey from our podcast. But like Spider might do it, but like yeah, it's absolutely there. We posted it a few times.
Mhm.
That'll definitely be part of a like 1 year of podcasting.
Yeah,
You know,
montage.
yeah, exactly. Like PowerPoint slide
Yeah.
presentation that I give.
Yeah,
Well, it would make a good how it started, how it's going.
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
a few things
basically.
like that with us too, for sure.
Oh
Well, I
yeah,
think-
we've grown leaps and bounds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like our
It just-
setups and everything.
Yeah. But I want to say that the biggest challenge from then was just figuring out like what does all this audio equipment do?
Yeah, there's
know,
so many
like-
knobs. I haven't even got a soundboard yet. I have not gotten that far, but yeah, I downloaded a app that does sound
Mhm.
like the different metering and things, and I'm just looking at all these knobs and dials, and I'm like, all I know is you just turn it up. That's
Make it louder.
yes. Go to
Yeah.
11, please.
It goes to 11. Yes.
Yeah. We probably spent 2 months just like cuz you know, the interface that we have is not very fancy, but because it's so big, there's like all these buttons and dials and things. And so we would like start recording. It's like, why is there no sound coming through? Like, why is it too quiet? And just like having to troubleshoot that. So that was probably the hardest thing to start. And then after that, you know, once you've recorded comes the editing and the sound design and the production. And so like, you know, none of us have audio engineer backgrounds. None of us do music or anything. So we're like,
Right.
I don't know, let's just figure it out. Like, what are these plugins people keep talking about? And
Yeah, learning
just-
about all that.
yeah.
And we continue, and by we I mostly mean David.
Yeah.
Continues
I continue, yes.
almost just like going into his little just I assume maybe literal but probably metaphorical sound shack, and then just downloading more plugins, more who knows what, and just fiddling, and then just reappears 3 weeks later being like, yeah, here's our whole new thing. It'll be 3% better. I spent 16 hours on it.
That-
And that's why we sound good, is because David's relentless pursuit of excellence.
Oh, and see that happens on our end too. Like all the graphics and stuff. I have that graphic design background, but
Mhm.
the graphics that we that I was used to I used to use in Photoshop, and it just wasn't outputting what I wanted. They changed some stuff, so I was like, well, now I have to go learn Illustrator. Oh, and I have to learn OBS. Oh, now I have to figure out how to make our overlays better. So you can actually look at our overlays from our first session to now.
Which I did in Canva.
And then you can see the next one, which I stepped in and did the one the next week, you know, but you can see the evolution of that. It's kind of the same thing. I'll sit here at this desk for like hours, and suddenly I'm like, we have new overlays, you know,
Yes.
or we have a sound problem solved or something. So I do the same thing, you know.
Yeah, I will say the like the TTRPG community is incredibly helpful with suggestions, because I know we've put out some questions on there. We're like, hey, we're having this issue. Has anybody had this before? And within minutes, people are like, oh yes, this happens all the time. Here's what you have to do to fix it.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice. It's really great to have all that.
Yeah, we've had people let us know about stuff like that, and we have friends that they'll hop in the chat, and if they can't hear us, like, we can't hear you. Did you set it right? Because they know there's one setting I always forget to check, or But when we first started, I didn't even know what settings I needed to check. I was like, I think there's one show where you can see me frantically going through the sound settings to find where to get the sound. Just learning that stuff.
That's the beauty of pre-recording. You just edit all that out.
Yeah.
And you don't acknowledge that you spent 45 minutes before hitting play figuring out why there's a buzz. Why is this buzz here? Why won't it go away? My God, you all can hear that too, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
or it becomes an outtake.
I told Kristen I was going to make a blooper reel eventually, especially of like her word
Words
salad.
are hard for me.
Yeah, and I'm going to name it Words Are Hard. So
Dawn says in the chat, my go-to method is A, cast someone who is also an artist, B, plead with them until they do the overlay, C, everyone else be a tech nerd.
Well, see,
I luck out. Kat and I spent a solid month trying not to impose on each other when I started getting the idea to do this. And then we got drunk one night, and I was like, I was trying not to impose. And she's like, well, I was trying not to impose.
See, I was trying not to impose, like, because it was her thing, and she was so excited about it, and she really wanted to do it, and I was like, I don't really want to, like, steal your thunder here, get in your spotlight or whatever, but I am the artist and tech nerd, so I do all those things.
That's even better.
So,
But honestly, I wouldn't have half of what we have now if I hadn't brought her on, so.
But I wouldn't have had it either.
She is my wonderkin.
I wouldn't have had it either, because I don't talk to people, so... I would have been like, this would be fun to do, but I don't do people. So our talents, they complement each other really well. But I agree with the find the people, because I actually told someone the other day, I'm like, the thing about, positions like this, where you're essentially the leader of the ship, is if you don't know how to do something, you find somebody and bring them on that does know how to do the thing. And, you find talents to complement your own. So, but, that's...
That's kind of my go-to at work is generally, I might not know the answer, but what I bring to the table is I know who to go to get the answer.
That's exactly how I do it at work as well, So but that's good though, because then you don't have that issue of, well, I'm just going to sit here and be pissed off about it until it either breaks or I find something on Google. You can ask people, And the community is great for that. There are so many cool people that just know all sorts of stuff, or like way far ahead of where we are, or where you guys are. And, so just starting out, it's been super helpful to have a lot of these people around too. So
yeah, we wouldn't be nearly where we are today without, other people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, you hear a lot of bad stories with some of the drama that comes out, but like by and large, my experience has been fantastic. Like if there's so many like supportive people, and they're just really cool, and then you meet more cool people that are doing the same thing, and maybe in a different format, and we all kind of realize we're having a lot of those same experiences, where it's just like, you meet these really neat people. It's been very cool for me, because I'm not the most social person, so just meeting new people and making
and then
new
there's
friends.
me, who randomly was like, hey, Kayla wants me to come play on her show, so I'm gonna go play, and then suddenly that's opened so many doors. Kayla, Time Lord's wife, was actually the first one to get me on a game streaming in November.
And before she started doing this, and then I came on, we started doing the channel. Most of her games were off channel. So, but yeah, so no, that is those are a lot of the challenges. The tech challenges are for sure something that we've experienced as well. Learning curve. It's sometimes it's steep sometimes with some of the stuff. Like I had some background with some of it, but other stuff like OBS and all that, I'm like, dear Google. So
yeah.
Well,
become very familiar with search engines.
Yeah.
And there's so many other parts to it too, of like not just the tech stuff, but of like, I remember we did a lot of test recordings. We did a lot of like, okay, we all have homework, and that is to listen to how you sound on mic. and like get used to figuring out what distance you need to be on mic and learn what sort of energy we need to be bringing when we're on mic and all that kind of stuff of like what it takes to actually sit down and have at the end of a D&D session a podcast. Don't talk over each other. Sip your water away from the mic, and and all those
Don't eat
sorts of
peanuts
things.
on recording. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
chips.
So all things well tested in the Reckless Attack laboratories and can recommend against.
You might think crinkling wrappers sound like a campfire, but they in fact do not.
They do not. They sound like pretty
Yeah.
much like crinkling wrappers. It turns
Yeah.
out, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
And go ahead.
oh, I say we had a lot of challenges, but we had that kind of 2-year break where I say break, but we kept working on it and thinking about this and iterating the entire time. And so, like Nathan said, we probably have like 20 to 30 hours of like recording that just before even episode 1 that we were tinkering with.
Yeah, some of it's on I think your phone, right, Nathan? There was some or several some of them were like our test recordings to see how this would even work. We're just on a phone.
I
in the
didn't.
middle
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
table.
I think even the test ones was really just like I was interested in recording stuff early, just to like listen to it again, just as almost a self-improvement tool early on, and then it started escalating, and
Yeah, going back and watching
it continues to escalate
VODs.
today.
It has been
yeah.
like, I'm like, okay, I need to not do that. But an added bonus is I don't hate my voice on recording anymore.
I still think I sound like a 12-year-old boy. So
Yeah. I still mostly don't. I still, especially, I've gotten more used to it in interviews. Even though now I am hyper aware, even more than actual play content, hyper aware of all my vocal tics because they come out even more in conversation, which is miserable. But I am not one of those podcasters who are blessed by like, I really don't mind the sound of my voice. No, it's always suffering.
I have the issue, especially as a DM, trying to differentiate voices. Then I go back and I listen to those, and I'm all like, okay, that either didn't change or what the hell?
I just don't do accents,
Yes.
except
Yeah.
for that one brief moment that I made fun of my in-game brother with his accent on Friday. That's it. I don't do accents. This is what you get, so that way at least I have that under control. On camera it's different though. Like I'm learning that I am a much more fidgety person than I realize, and you guys can all see it, and I try the best I can to not be so fidgety because it draws attention away, but man, that's my annoying tick. I drive myself crazy with it. I'll catch myself at the corner of my eye. I'm like, I'm moving again. So you guys have advantage on that. Nobody sees you doing all this business.
Well, right, you can't see it right now, but right now my hands are gripped together on the table, and so that I'm not like doing a whole bunch of stuff all over the place.
Yeah, I got terrible ADHD. At this point, I'm just like, you know what? That's fine. I'm just gonna just fidget a little bit. I'll try to do my best not to be, too bad. But sometimes it gets the better of you when you're sitting here for 2
He
hours.
falls somewhere on my desk, but if I get too fidgety, Kat bought us rocktopusses,
Oh yeah,
and
What
I
are
fidget with
those?
that. Okay, now I gotta find it to show.
it's a 3D printed head of the Rock with octopus tentacles.
yes,
And it's
Rock-
incredible, yes.
it's
But
like the
I'll
most
like keep it down in
Hold
my
on.
lap.
Can you put that? I need to look at that again.
You can get them
I'll
on
send you a
Etsy from
picture.
any number of vendors for like $5. It is like the most delightful waste of $10 I have ever made in my life. They're fantastic. I don't have a octopus, but I do have an octopus. My friend made this one for me.
Oh.
Cute little crochet one. But my octopus is downstairs. I usually fidget with this giant metal dice if I actually think about it instead of, playing with my hair or fidgeting in my seat. But
And on the topic of fun things, what's your favorite moment in your game so far for each of you?
You guys go first. Mine will be intense.
Will yours involve spoilers?
We'll see. I'll think about it.
I think I may have stumped them.
So okay, so I can take the first one here. So funny enough, I think my favorite moment does not directly involve Selv, but it is one of the audio clips that Nathan posted early on when we were kind of just starting out. But there was a discussion as to whether or not to wake up Selv while in the caravan, and there's a, they're talking about, should we waking him up, and then I think David, was it you that said, I don't remember if it was you or Jonathan that said, I like to think that Selv already knows.
That was David.
Yeah.
That was David, and I said something like, yes, he knows, yes, he's awake, but he's also very tired, and they were kind of commenting on the fact that Selv has a pretty high perception skill, and they're like, well, if we need him, he'll just show up because he probably already knows that there's something going on. But I thought that was a great little moment that kind of played out.
I think my favorite moment is probably somewhere around like episode 15, 16 or wherever. There's a scene where Checkers is hopping around in the trees at night, having stolen a ostrich bear egg, and he is like trying to keep it away from them, and at the end of it he comes back having successfully avoided the ostriches, but the egg is broken, and he's just like the saddest frog.
Because as we
Checkers
know,
and all of
ostrich
his
bears are
various
fiercely
frogs.
territorial.
So much
Yes.
fun.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it.
I think I have two really really good ones. I think one of my favorite moments very early was super early on. It was like episode 4 or 5. Long story short, there was a lot of character work happening, and everyone, like, the party was split. Some people were in the woods kind of talking amongst themselves. A couple other people were kind of like getting support back in the, and like talking to NPCs and being confronted with NPCs that were, we will say, very challenging to talk to. And that for me as a DM and as like kind of a like meta podcaster, type person, hearing everyone just like effortlessly share the spotlight and make decisions in character and justify their decisions by like, I think my character would do this and would say this and react this way, and then I think my character would react to your character reacting this way in this way. It was really cool, and that was something that I knew would be the case, right? Like, I'd been playing with these folks the whole time for years at this point, and knew that was easily in our wheelhouse. But it was really very assuring that early to just be like, we've settled in. We don't have the episode 1 kind of like jitters, and we're just playing D&D, and it's great, and everyone is just like in character. And we're all having fun, and we're all fine when we're not, we don't have the spotlight on us. And that was just like a cool, almost meta moment for me, where it's like, okay, this is going good. This is where we want it to be. This is doing the stuff that we want to be doing. And then the other favorite moment I had was very recently in one of the episodes, and for anyone who's caught up on the show will know, recently we had a very intense emotional episode that I won't go too into it, but was really kind of one of those classic, one PC has strong opinions about a course of action, and another NPC or another PC has opposite feelings. And there was a lot of drama there, and a lot of serious drama, but the way that the play, and I had no NPCs to play in this scene. I was just like a passive observer and answering questions.
Those are the best moments.
Yeah, and they just went, and it was difficult, and they didn't know that, I like to be a DM as much as possible, and I'm trying to get better at it. But I try to give some heads up where it's like, hey, I could see there being an emotional scene or a big scene or something like that. So just like come into the session prepared for that, or let me know if you're not up to it. And the players just talked for like half an episode, and it was all in character, and it was all like respectfully done in character and out of character, and emotionally done, and done in a way where it's like, yep, I totally understand what you're saying, and I hear that you are understanding what I'm saying, and now we have a decision to make. And it was a hard decision, plot-wise and character-wise, and it was a decision that had repercussions for some time, and repercussions that then it carried into the next episode, and somehow that conversation got even more intense and more vulnerable and more emotional and more steeped in character. And I once again, I literally didn't even look at the players. Like, eyes down, I'm just like, nope, I am absorbing, I'm listening, I am trying to send energy of support out, but I'm just sitting here. I'm not interrupting, I'm not doing anything. You guys figure out what you're gonna do. And once again, everyone was just there for it, and just present and dialed in, and everyone, even if they weren't saying things perfectly, or even if it was still difficult, or even if it was emotional and hard and not the woo fun hooray D&D, like we were all on board, we were all there for the scene, and everyone was just there for it, and like, nope, we're gonna go there, and we're gonna do it safely, and we're gonna do it in a way that we're all happy with, but like, we're gonna do it. And
those are the moments you live for as a DM.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a
and
player.
it happened a lot in the last campaign, and I was never worried that it wasn't going to happen again, or at least I got over that fear quickly, right? And I don't know, David and Steve, you can talk a little bit about changing or not changing, being players for a podcast as opposed to being just players. But I felt very good about the level of safety and comfort for us to navigate those sorts of situations, and do so in a respectful and cool and hopefully entertaining way.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a really good one of just like, yeah, man, like that spoke to the quality of story being told and the quality of people telling it. And I could just be like, yep, I'm just staying out of the way, and I am also an audience member. And that was one of those where like it feels like the show leveled up, kind of things. And those things will always, that feeling will always be a core memory of the Reckless Attack podcast. It could go on for 5 more years. It could go on. We could end next week, and it'll always be like, yeah, but we did do that episode, and that was fucking sick.
That's super cool, and that's the kind of thing, like, we've just started our long-term games. The game that I'm in just started Friday, and one of hers are a couple episodes in, and so those are the things that you want as a player. I like I said, I've only DM'd once, but I can imagine that's what you would want too. But definitely as a player, those are the kind of things I'm hoping that we will have as we go. And she had a pretty good one on Artena on Monday. She got the players pretty good with something, but since
I have to go back and watch their faces, because I actually really got them to really wait, what?
Yeah, so since it just aired on Monday, I won't spoil it, but just I was watching it, and just as she revealed bits by bits, and they all started to RP this, you could start to see them invest in the game. This is only the 3rd episode, and just the emotion, so you kind of, those are the moments you definitely want to have, and I'm hoping to experience this too as we settle into our games. So that's very cool.
Yeah, I have a hard time answering the question of what is your favorite moment, because for me, I really like just doing the podcasts,
Yeah.
You know, like
Absolutely.
we come in every week and we sit down and we're just playing, and that's like the vibe that we want our podcast to have. And you know, I think that it really comes out in the episodes.
Mhm.
But like at the end of the night, you know, I'm always just like beaming because it's so fun. And
Oh, yeah,
like,
And you
get
got
that
to
high.
play with your friends.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel
that's always exciting.
Yeah, we say it every week, and I feel like, not in a real way, but like in the anxiety millennial part of my brain that is self-congratulatory. Every week, it's like, God, was that our best one?
yeah.
Was that our best one yet? I think it feels like it. Is that weird to say? Because we've done a lot of good ones, and we said this. How many episodes do we have? 34. We said it 34 other times, but like, I think that one was really good and was fun.
But then you sit
and-
too long with it with that millennial anxiety and the imposter syndrome
Yeah.
sets in.
So yeah, I'm
You
Gen
know-
X. I just have that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
That was good.
Honestly, it's really weird. Don't get me wrong, so I'm the one who runs the social media, so I get like the bombardment of everything of existence on social media.
Nathan is our shield when it comes to that.
Yeah.
He's
But-
our shield and our filter.
Yeah, but you know, we you know, I don't want to overstate it. We get a lot of great feedback. Anyone who doesn't like our show just fades off, and we appreciate that so very deeply. But it's been really great. When we started the podcast, or when I was even having an inkling of starting a podcast or starting this podcast, I was never interested in doing a podcast just for the sake of doing one. I wanted it to be a good podcast, and one that I could believe in, and one that I could be, again, anxiety millennial, could be confident in myself to be like, no, I don't need permission to do this. I think this will be good. And I know enough, I've listened to enough podcasts to have a measurement. And like, there have been a lot of times where certainly there's been some imposter syndrome or whatever, in a lot of ways. I don't want to gloss over that. A lot, most days. But at the table, and when we put out an episode, genuinely, I am still always thrilled. I'm still always like, fuck, that was good. We have
Yeah.
a good show.
Yeah.
And like that's a really cool feeling. And we say it all the time. It's like, damn, our show's actually very good, it turns out. Good job, us. And it's very relieving that particular bit of imposter syndrome has never, at least knock on wood, come across my brain. Again, many
I
other
still
times.
get the
but that one.
moments, especially, I mean, we're 4 months into the channel, and by next month, we will have 5 nights of programming. We'll have 2 DMs besides myself that are doing long-term campaigns. We have character art being done. Like, I never imagined we would be
Yeah.
at this level, and I'm just like, this is something I created. What?
Yeah, I'm sitting here. I'm like, I helped put this together, and we're doing this thing. It's crazy, you know. So we have those moments where we're like, whoa, this is like insane what we're doing here, you know. Or we'll get done with a game, we're like, wow, that was really cool. We did this thing, you know. We're doing this thing. So I get, you know, it's we get a lot of that too around here. We'll just we're actually roommates too. So, you know, we'll sit down on the couch and we're like, this is the we've got, you know, she'll like we have 81 followers as of today, you know. We're like, whoa, we had like 3 when we started or something, you know. It was, you know, so you have those moments too where you're doing the thing, you know, and it feels really good to do the thing, you know, and that's,
Yeah.
you know, and that for me that's the best part of it.
Then even 4 months in, our YouTube cache, I think this will be the 34th or 35th video we have put up.
Wow.
It might be
Because
past
we
that.
just are like, we did a bunch of one shots, like, you know, we're gonna go feet first, get our feet wet, and just do the thing.
No, we didn't get our feet wet. We just threw ourselves off the cliff.
Yeah.
Like we just started broadcasting. We didn't,
That
you
was
know.
that's not feet first. That's head first. You
Yeah,
guys just
yeah,
go
you're right. I took a
straight
nosedive right
in.
off.
We took pH levels of the water before jumping in.
Yeah, you tested all
you
that.
know, we're like, oh, hold on, it might be, again, COVID. We probably shouldn't go swimming for a while. And like, can we get like a yardstick out to make sure that this is the properly labeled depth of this cool. I think we should
Yeah,
check
you
that
guys like
first.
balanced your floaties and everything. Like, nope, she started the first episode with Immortal, and I was like, maybe I'll guest on occasion or pop in, and then we just went. So like all of our tech fails, our terrible overlays, is now that they've evolved to what they are, which I'm actually pretty proud of. You can see all of that because we didn't do any of that business. We're just like, we're just gonna do the thing and see how it goes, whether we fail or not.
Yeah, that's been an interesting balance for me as I'm getting to know other creators of like who took what approach, right? And like some people are like, some people like, again, we worked a lot and then had a luxury of working a lot more on the podcast, luxury, as we all cowered in our various apartments. But also a lot of people were just like, I just needed to make it, and I knew that if I waited, that it wouldn't happen, or that I would lose interest, or that I'd get overwhelmed and scared. And it's been cool to see who does what and how both work for different people, for sure.
Yeah, this approach works for us because we're like that, because we get excited about stuff. We're both, she's not necessarily diagnosed ADHD, but she definitely shows it, and I am. We get excited about stuff, and we're like, let's do all the things. There's a whole pile of craft stuff back here behind me that says, I get excited, and then like it peters out. So we knew we needed to, if we're going to do it and we're going to bring people in, we needed to go, because otherwise we wouldn't have gotten very far as it was. So, now we're going, and we have a schedule, and we have people working with us. So it's not the same as, if it was just the two of us and, well, that was fun, and we give up and do something else. Now we have a whole community that we work with. So now it's a thing. So we've gotten past that hump of abandonment that we would have hit at a certain point because of how we work. So, that approach for us was the best. But I think if we had done what you guys did, we would not be here. So yeah, it is interesting. You're the first group I've met that was very meticulous in your start. So, but
We couldn't help it.
well,
It was
Yeah.
both COVID and our personalities of being like, no, if we're gonna do this, like, it's gonna be a finely tuned machine, especially
Yeah.
for podcasts where we talked a lot about how Sophie of Reckless
I just
Attack
saw that,
is
yeah.
is in chat and in all caps, and we're planners. Yes, correct.
oh,
Sophie's the one who keeps
we
us
plan
on
too.
schedule and
Yes,
on task. Yes.
exactly. And Sophie is planner of planners, and
Yeah.
and may the many blessings rain down upon her for it.
If it wasn't for Kat, I would not be organized in the least.
Yeah,
I'm also
absolutely.
the planner. I have a long list of things that I do, but she does the but yeah, I also have so many tasks.
But yeah, I think we pretty early, at least for me, in my experience of listening to podcasts, is you get so little, especially if you're doing a long form, big epic campaign, which is what we wanted to do. Even if it's not technically the optimal growth strategy, that's what we wanted to do because we're recording our game.
Yeah, it's yours.
And you get such a small chance to grab people on that, and everyone starts at episode 1, right? For those sorts of podcasts, unless you're going for long enough to have recap episodes and stuff, which we have. But if your story isn't tight, if you don't grab them right away, if your audio is off, those are all barriers for entry. And there's so many awesome podcasts out there that we worked really hard, just sanding every edge that we
Yeah.
possibly could.
I spent probably 40 hours on episode 1, just
Yeah.
a whole work week, a single hour of audio.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to
And-
I feel
sand
that.
down all the edges.
Yeah,
as
and
much as we could.
I sat down and I think I shared several, even just the opening intro Star Wars scrawl basically that we had. I think I made many drafts and sent many drafts to the group to be does this sound right? Can we trim this, that, or the other thing? So we went in, especially for for a serialized, is it serialized? I think is
Yeah.
that the right word?
Yeah, it's
serialized
serialized.
podcasts. We wanted to make sure that like episode 1, or at least that first batch of episodes, hit, and that they were gonna be, you would know if you liked us from the first few episodes because they were the best version of ourselves that we could present at the time. And like, this is our game, this is who we are, this is our vibes, and you're not going to turn us off for reasons outside of those things. You can turn us off for if you don't like the story, or you don't like the weird voices the DM is doing, or whatever, or it's like too many frogs. But like, you're not going to turn us off for audio. You're not going to turn us off because we don't jump into the action quickly. Like, we are removing as many obstacles as humanly possible to get you hooked in.
That makes
And that was
sense.
really important to us.
When we started, again, like I think Nathan sent out a couple of, I don't know what to call them, polls. But basically saying, hey, when you guys are listening to a podcast, what is something that makes you not want to listen to the next episode? And a lot of the stuff that, like, I think for, even among our group, it was that audio. Like, if the audio is particularly bad, we just can't bring ourselves to listen to another episode. So that was something we worked really hard on, was the audio, and David was freaking awesome with all of that, like doing all of that research and getting all that stuff together.
And all the players, again, we played a lot. And we all, like, we took turns, we had different GMs, we had different all kinds of stuff just to get more hours in. And especially the players, like, I did some college radio, so I had like a bit of mic discipline kind of built in to my brain, but no one else had, understandably, because it's a weird, silly skill unless you are a podcaster or college radio DJ. But like, everyone put in the work to listen to themselves, to figure out what distance they needed to be, to try out different character voices, to work on not talking over each other, which is a big thing. And so even the people who are not doing the direct audio design and that kind of stuff worked really, really hard individually to be conscious of stuff like that and make everyone's lives better.
And that all makes a lot of sense too, because like, yeah, we went head first into this and just started putting stuff out, but we're also in a visual medium. So people can still see us, they can still like see our faces and how we react to things and how we RP in a much more visual manner. So the little tech bumps we had and some of the weird sound quirks we had, those can be passed off a little bit because they can still see us. So, and interact with us because we do this live. So, it definitely makes sense why you would be much more meticulous with that. Because you're right, if someone, you're listening to something and it sounds bad, they're going to turn it off. They're not going to want to listen because they have nothing else to go off of but what you're putting out, via audio. So, no, that is a cool way to go about it, though. So it seems to be working for you guys. I hear tons of good stuff about you. So I have very little time, so I don't get into a lot of things. But
no, we say this to everyone of like, no creator, especially in kind of our niche or like our echelon of creation, we're all just working our butts off all the time and meeting new people and trying out new things. Like, I still, of course, do say like, sorry, I haven't been keeping up with your show, but like, we all get it, right? Like, we all get it. We all understand.
Oh yeah,
There's
I had that jump
17
from being
amazing
like
shows at all times.
Yeah, I was occasionally on some channels and stuff like that. And then there's others that I went back and I caught up with the entire catalog they had at this game because it was so good. And now I can't keep up with it because I'm just like, I'm constantly doing stuff. And now I'm planning 2 long-term campaigns and I've got to make sure I've got stuff for that.
And streams.
Well, and I'm just always a very busy person. Even before this, like I have kids, job, I'm in school. Well, I don't have a job right now, but that's coming at some point soon, so I mean, I'm generally a very busy person anyway, so a lot of this stuff like is very, very new to me. Like, I knew like this was a whole world of things and a whole world of people that put out all of these great games, but I by and large am kind of a little bit removed from it in the in the viewer listener standpoint, because I have no time and never do. Like, this is like this is a long-standing thing. It's the same thing with like movies. Everyone's like, "Have you seen that movie?" No. How about the show? No, I have not. I read a series of books at the beginning of the year, and it was amazing, and I hadn't been able to do that in a long time. So, it's... So,
and we occasionally will watch something while we eat dinner, but, we usually have a couple, like, a week or two between what we watch.
Yeah, so it's, I do my best to be supportive in other ways, like, as we led up to the show, I'm like, I'm gonna plug the hell out of your podcast, and things like that. And it's one of those things. So it's like I want to be able to sit and listen to your podcast and learn about your game and those things like that. It's rough when you're a creator though, and it's rough when you have a life. You have all of these things you want to do, but your time is very full. So that's my personal thing that gives me anxiety, is not being able to enjoy the things that all of these other folks in the community like you put out. So like, I feel bad.
Yeah, we get it. Everyone gets it.
Yeah.
We're all doing our own stuff and trying to live during a pandemic.
Yeah. No,
we should get it. And if someone doesn't get it, they're the one who was wrong.
Yeah, they're the problem. Like, logically I know that, but we all know what anxiety does. It's like, we're gonna go think the dumb thing.
And you will say, anxiety, no. We have talked about this many times.
Yeah.
And the anxiety will be like, yeah, but what about this time?
Yeah, we're gonna do it again right now. Oh, it's 2:00 in the morning? Guess what?
Oh man, there's been some sleepless nights where insomnia hits me because I'm just like thinking about all of the stuff I need to do for upcoming shows, and I'm all like, dear brain, I actually do need to work my day job tomorrow, so if you could stop.
Yeah, see, I get the stupid stuff that just hits in at like 1:30, 2:00 in the morning.
Yes.
Where it's like, I'll be lying in bed just kind of fading, and and then all of a sudden my brain's like, when you clean a vacuum cleaner, you become a vacuum cleaner. And I'm like, oh my God.
And that's how we get our episode titles.
Yeah.
That is how you get the episode titles. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Mine is, you remember that dumb thing you did when you were 13 in junior high? We're going to replay that for a while.
Yeah.
That's the highlight
How could you
reel.
have done that differently?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you were...
ideas you get in the middle of the night and then actually remember to write down.
Oh my God.
Straight up in bed and made a note for myself, and then I read it back to Kat after I found it. I'm like, apparently in the middle of the night I had a cyberpunk idea that was petroleum ghosts.
That's fucking
all I
sick.
put
What are you
down.
talking about?
100%.
That's what I told her.
Or that's the Next Generation episode of like the weird like tar monster.
Oh
like,
yeah, the one that killed Tasha Yar. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's a thing. Do that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I pictured. But
that's
I was like,
fucking awesome.
I was like,
yes,
you
listen
have to.
145 Stress Dream U.
Yeah,
that is correct.
There is a level
that.
in your city that would be a great place for a petroleum ghost. Just saying.
There is.
Yeah.
Oh, so here's a fun question. If your characters, or for Nathan, your one of your NPCs, had an autobiography, what would it be called?
Oh, that's easy.
Hit us with it.
Self-reflection.
That's not fair. That's not fair. He came up with that
made
joke
that one
last
before,
recording.
That is true,
got-
but that does not mean that would not be the autobiography.
No, but it
title.
is true. Exactly, it is true. But that's why he had the jump start.
Self-assessment.
No. Self-reflections is it's perfect, and like the cover image is there, where it is a large dragonborn staring at a serene pool of water, and the
just
reflection is coming back up at him. It's
it's
perfect, and I'm angry about it.
It's all there.
That actually is really good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. I feel like Caskrins would just be like Law and Order, but it's just like because I am bad at thinking about book titles. Like I'm sure the
Or
book
like
itself-
War and Peace, whatever the War and Peace equivalent is.
Yeah.
I guess it would be
Something and
Law
something.
and Chaos in kind of the classic D&D alignment kind of, angle.
Oh yeah. No, like the cover would just be like that 3x3 grid of alignment.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about like Ponderings from the Eternal Citadel?
I could see that.
True. I will do. I'm gonna cheat a little bit, in that this one will be a biography of an NPC, because it would probably be a posthumous biography.
I know who you're gonna pick.
of the guild's potionsmith, Etris, and I think it would just be something along the lines of like, you know, like explosive personality, the life and times of Etris Pensempre, or something like that, or like it would be. I don't think he would write his own biography. I think someone would be like, we have to write down this fucking weirdo's deal.
Just art is an explosion.
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying to come up with good rock puns in for the one, and if we're going the whole Law and Order, between a rock and a law place.
Yes, actually incredible.
Steve, write that
100%.
down.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
future episode title
Got
possibility?
it. Got it. Yep.
That's pretty good too. So we're gonna wrap it up in a minute here, but I do have one more question. So we've all played D&D. We have 2 D&D games going. Your game is a D&D game. Our third game that's coming up is going to be a D&D based game as well. So of all of the other games that you may have played, what are your favorite non-D&D games that you would play?
So, if you guys don't mind, I'll kick it off here. Give you some time to think about it. So, I've played a lot of games.
I figured you'd have a
lot
good
of
like
different
basis
systems
there
over
for
the
us.
past 35 or so years. But ones that I keep coming back to. I love the Star Wars D6 system. I think it was West End Games that put that out. I also liked. I love Earth Dawn, but one of the more recent ones that we had played that I really enjoyed was Monster of the Week.
I've heard of that one.
It's the powered by the Apocalypse system, and the reason I like that one so much is that it is a very simple system. It's 2d6 plus your attribute, and then it's whatever it is, 1 to 6 you fail, 7 to 9 is a partial success, 10 and higher, full success, and that's it. And you can do anything in that because that type of rule set, it has a built-in, here's what you need to succeed, and you could just do stuff for it, and for whoever's running it, the monsters only act when the players act. So on a partial success, the monster can do something. On a failure, the monster does something worse. And so you don't have a whole lot of stuff to keep track of like monster abilities. It's just they do this thing, they cause harm to whoever the character is, and you as the person running don't have to roll any dice. It's a very nice streamlined system, and that has quickly become one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love those ones. I call those the easy entry games. They're good for people like me
yes.
who are short on time. So sometimes they just want to roll up a character and play, and those are some of the best ones. Some of the ones we've played recently are a easier entry. They're a little complex, but it's just a handful of dice that you need to go, or really easy ones that we've played. So those are really cool. I've been really loving those lately too. And what about you two?
Like to that point, my favorite system outside of D&D is probably Numenera or anything with the Cypher system. Because like the character generation portion is really like simple and elegant. Like when you start building a character, you pick like a noun, verb, and an adjective that all have like different class abilities assigned to them. But you will be like, I am a like charismatic Jack who rides the lightning. And so like rides the lightning is like gives you these lightning powers. Jack becomes like a jack of all trades, so like different skill abilities, and charismatic is like ability modifier. And so like just from that simple sentence you can make a character. But then also from
That's
like
cool.
running the game perspective, one, like in Monster of the Week, the GM never rolls any dice. It's always like if if the player character is attacking, they make the attack roll. If they're getting attacked, they make a defense roll. And so it really frees up a lot of like that storytelling energy throughout the session. But like the big thing with the Cypher system is that you get a lot of single-use items. Like that's the thing. You don't get magic. You get magic items, but they only work once. And so as the GM, you can make whatever you want up. Like, and it doesn't matter if it's balanced or not. Like I can just make like a glowing orb that summons a black hole and destroys like a whole city block, and that's totally fine because the players will find a creative and interesting way to use it, and then that'll be that, and I never have to worry about it again.
That is cool.
Yeah, so like
The
anything
whole,
with the Cypher system.
The whole Ren and Stimpy shiny red candy-like button.
Yeah, a lot of those all over the place, and it's a lot of fun because of that.
That does sound cool. It sounds like something that'd be fun to try for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a little more crunchy than Monster of the Week is, which I like. Some of that little flavor, little mechanics.
Yeah, we look at some of those for like one shots or like mini campaigns and stuff too. So those are ones that would be really cool to just like throw on. Hey, it's Thursday and our Thursday game is off for the week, so we're gonna do this instead. That kind of thing. So I always look at those for stuff like that. And you, Nathan.
For me, I don't get to play games. I DM games. So first that, I guess.
Well, if you ever want to play, Nathan.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I'm around.
Please come join us. You're welcome.
But I really love genre games. Specifically, like I'm a player, especially if I'm just picking up a system. And it's especially if it's a one shot and is not D&D basically, which is just what I have the most experience and kind of like brain absorption for. I love games that are just like, yep, it's this. We're playing an episode of Star Trek. Boom. This is in the Alien universe or something like that. Because I'm definitely a player who likes knowing kind of the rules, the story rules,
right?
And like the archetypes that I can be playing with, and the story beats that we might be building towards, so I can help kind of like either thwart them or build to them or sprint towards them even faster.
And also you have the lore available without having to get a massive lore dump of here's what the world is like.
We had just done Alien, and that was the easy part of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And Monster of the Week's a great example of like there's a bazillion, procedural-y kind of shows or Monster of the Week shows. I love X-Files, so I'm like, yep, done, absolutely, check. Monster of the Week. Lasers and Feelings is a great one. Where it's just like it's kind of a combination. It's kind of like Futurama, basically. Like if you were just Zap Brannigan going around, and like yes,
fun.
Done, hell yes. So I really
that
love
sounds
those.
amazing.
Where I can just pick up, the feel quickly, which is important for rule systems. I think for me too, especially for rules light ones, is like you can just straight up tell me like, it's this movie. You get it. It's this movie. But you get to play through it and you get, these vibes or whatever. But otherwise, I'd really love playing a superhero game one day. I'd really love to try Blades in the Dark. I liked Pathfinder 2e solidly. I'd like to try it again for a longer term campaign.
I do want to play Lancer sometime, but I don't know nothing else besides it has mechs. And,
those are that was my final two things that I really want to play. Is I really want to play Lancer and I really want to play Icon, which are both done by Massive Press. And the first one is mechs, just mechs in like a crazy futuristic world, and the other one is a new fantasy game. And they both seem really cool and crunchy, but in a fun way. And I'd love to give those a shot sometime.
Yeah. See, I like the genre runs too. I actually just got the PDFs for the Kickstarter for Blade Runner, so I want to do a mini campaign of that.
Cool.
Because that one's like, I love the movies. I love that whole kind of cyberpunk noir kind of world. So.
Or like I just ran an Alien one shot, and it's so easy, especially since our guest writes as an author in the IP of Alien.
I had so much fun. That you just talk about.
I guess
into
that
the
would be
go.
convenient or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
I make friends with authors, and so that's one of my main avenues of, hey, come play games with me.
her strong suit is she makes friends with everyone. It's good though.
Good to have.
It is.
Yeah, that is a skill that is very, very useful.
It is very useful. We definitely have that going for us on this channel. This is not.
But I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you so much, all three of you, for coming on. It's been a blast getting to talk with
thanks
you
for
guys
having us.
and
Yeah.
getting to know you
absolutely.
all. Everybody, if those in the audience, if you haven't checked out Reckless Attack, absolutely go and check them out. Go ahead and plug the show yourselves. If you've got anything else going on, let us know about that.
Do you want? Should I do the plug? Do you guys want to try the plug?
Steve, you do the plug.
What?
Yes,
What?
you
No,
do the
no,
plug.
I
We'll
don't know about. Hello, everybody. Welcome to, please listen to Reckless Attack, our 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons actual play podcast.
Pretty good.
With about 5 of us, 3 of which you see here.
Not bad, Steve. A couple notes. First, you didn't say anything about frogs,
Oh,
and that's a pretty central piece.
please allow me to hang my head in shame.
Yeah, well, we put you on the spot. We haven't put you through the mandatory media training yet, and
No,
that's
that's true.
that's on me. But yes, we are a podcast of frogs and feelings and mystery and monsters and really just a good batch of people trying to make the world a little bit nicer to live in for their fellow mortals. It's a very collaborative game. It's a game that captures the feel of friends around a table, but with all of the boring and or mouth soundy parts edited out. And yeah, it's just a great time. High adventure, high heroism, many feelings, many frogs.
Check
We
us
love
out.
the frogs.
Yeah, wherever you can find podcasts. On Twitter at reckless_attack or Instagram at recklessattackpod. Or just check out our website at www.recklessattack.com.
You guys
Well done.
definitely get the podcasting
Nailed
talk
it.
down. It's fantastic.
As far as us, tomorrow you can check, or not tomorrow, Thursday. I know my days of the week, I swear.
No, she doesn't.
Thursday you can check out At the Threshold. It's a 5e homebrew that our friend Chad, in the chat is North Shore DM, is running. I get to play in it.
Ooh.
It's lots of fun. I have no memories and it's fantastic. And then this weekend, Saturday nights, I play over on Exquisite Corpse Presents as Candy in Say a Prayer for California Sister Cities. And I'm terrified of what DK is going to do to me this weekend.
So, and then coming on Friday is our Cyberpunk long-term game. It's their second episode. I'm actually in that one. I play Obscura, a netrunner, which I have to sit and read this manual because I'm going to netrun, I'm pretty sure, this next session or the one after. And it's 20 pages. So
That's many. That is many pages.
it's a lot. It's the biggest section of all of the roles you could play in the game. So of course, I picked that one. But it's great. I have a in-game brother, and we have some fantastic banter. We argue and bicker. It's so far. It's
And there's sardines.
yeah.
Perfect.
Go watch the last episode for the sardine incident. It was delightful. And then rolling into next week, we'll go back to Kristen's game Artena, which she has written the whole world for. She's been writing this world for the last 3 years. She started before COVID and has been writing this world, and now is playing it on her stream, and it's fantastic so far. She's been doing some great work on that. And then Tuesday, we have a special edition of Chaos Commentary with a special guest that Kristen and her ability to talk to anyone has brought us.
Next Tuesday, you can tune in here at the same chaos time, same chaos place, and B. Dave Walters is going to be coming on
Oh.
to join us
Lovely.
and talk TTRPGs, and I'm super excited.
She made that happen, and I'm super excited. Again, I live under a rock, so I'm passingly familiar, but I'm excited to actually meet this person and have a conversation and learn about his his
The
life in
many
TTRPG.
projects he's
yeah,
doing.
there's a list.
Unlimited projects.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen the list.
Very project.
It's
Yes,
very projects,
all
very
projects
impressive.
only.
So we're gonna do that next week, and that's gonna be exciting for us too. And then from there, it's long-term games and maybe some cool little one-shots here and there. We've got some other guests planned down the road that we'll announce later. But yeah, it's been.
And I will talk to Nathan about some guest spots, maybe.
Yes, come play with us. You guys are welcome too. It's not just
Yes.
exclusive to Nathan, but being the DM, always the DM and never the player. That's
That's true. Yep.
He deserves it.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, the opportunity is there. So we would love to see you on the channel and have you come play with us. It'd be fantastic. And that's really it for us. Again, we thank you guys for coming. It was great.
Yes,
you guys
thank you
have
so
been
much.
fantastic.
This was a fantastic conversation.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
lovely
enjoyed
time.
it.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks for
having
having
us.
us.
Yeah. So check him out on the Reckless Attacks podcast. You can see the website in the base of our overlay and in all of the Twitter plugs that I've put up recently. It is recklessattack.com or any place, as David said, where podcasts can be heard. And that's it for us. Thanks for coming out.
Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.